Let's go. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's Brian Tarian here from the Disability Digest for our weekly YouTube live event, all about how to strengthen and win your disability case, how to file like a pro. Philip, Nadine, thanks for joining. Great to have you with us. You guys were right on time when you did that salute. I don't know if you have you been practicing?
We've been practicing every day.
Yes, yes. So before we came on, Philip, you had mentioned about changing the music, which I do agree. It's a little annoying. And I had this vision of getting somebody to do a version of the Sting and Shaggy duet about Don't Make Me Wait. I don't know if you've heard that song, which would be appropriate for what we're doing. If there's any musicians out there, you're for hire, let me know. I'd love to get a copy of that because we can't use the real. I guess I could. I'd have to go to the boys and ask for permission, but yeah. Anyway, so for today, as I mentioned, we're going to give you a hack to help you better communicate your situation to Social Security. What I'm going to share with you today is really like cutting edge stuff. And if you're not familiar with artificial intelligence and you're like, oh my God, that stuff is so complicated, I'm going to make it really, really simple for you. And spending a few minutes to learn how to use it, if you haven't in the past, can pay huge dividends, not only for like this, for recipes, for travel plans, for whatever it is, buying stuff. In my opinion of circles that I travel in, the days of internet search are like radically changing fast. The way you use Google or Bing to search, you know, Nadine, Philip, maybe you're doing this now. I mean, I seldom use those tools anymore. I mostly
Agree.
to AI. So that's what we have on tap. So listen, if you're new here, glad you found us. Here at the Disability Digest, we do these events as an effort to help you get your benefits approved, help you keep them, help you maximize them. In addition to this, we offer those that are out there to join us as a member. It's really the best way that we can help you. And I'll show you more about that at the end, because you can complete a profile at thedisabilitydigest.com. And your profile will help us understand where you're at, like what your challenges are. And are you trying to get approved? Have you applied and waiting? Maybe you just got approved, or you've been approved for a while. You want to go back to work. You're concerned about housing, your benefit review, all of those things. So that profile gets you the right information to help you out. And there's no charge for your membership. And so One, there's no charge. Two, it gets you the best information, and you still get access to events like this. So, okay.
Maximize them. In addition to this, we offer those that are out there to join us as a member.
There you go.
Or
No worries. Would you inform the audience about the FAQ? We'll put the link out in a few minutes and that piece of the program.
Yeah, sure. So later on, in the program, we will have, we will give you the opportunity to ask question live. So I'll be posting the link for you to join the Zoom meeting, and we would much appreciate it if you can post your question in the message via Zoom. But if not, because I realized that some doesn't know how to do that, so you can also send in your question in the comments section down below.
And I see Michael out there has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions already. So that would be a very efficient way for you to just come in and join the conversation, and we can get those answered for you.
Yeah.
And then Philip Price is here, who runs the largest, fastest growing Facebook group on the planet Earth that I know of that assists people from a support mechanism. There it is. Look at those guns. To go through the disability approval process. So Philip is here, and I expect you have some questions from the group this week.
yes,
We are
certainly.
going to address and answer. So all right, let's get on with it. Okay, so one of the things that I want to help everybody understand for the disability approval process is really, if you are new in it, and even if you are already receiving your benefits, there's some things that I encourage you to take into consideration. What has happened in the past and the prior administration, we don't really know what's going to happen in the future. But I do know this. I know the numbers. And these are recent statistics that have been released by Social Security that show that there are 1.9 million Social Security disability applications out there. And so if you're going to apply for benefits, or you already have, you're trying to get approved, you're in a very competitive environment because the staffing is low. And if they don't pass the budget, or they don't want to put a bunch more resources into Social Security, I don't see that trend changing a lot. So my job, I feel, is to help you understand how to make your case stand out. Now, here at the Disability Digest, when you join us as a member, you get a comprehensive disability approval course. It'll show you everything that really you need to do to get your case approved. And if you don't want to do it on your own, then you can possibly use a representative if you can find one. And so the disability approval course that we have, and we could help you with a representation piece, either find one or possibly it would be a fit for us. But we just work with a limited amount of people that we represent. So we teach a lot of people, or as many as we can, or that would like to, how to use the course. So this is the course and some of the contributors that have put it together. If you spend any time online, then you would recognize Carl Osterhow and Jonathan Ginsburg, Attorney James Mitchell Brown, and a whole bunch of contributions from members. That makes up those are the contributors to our disability approval course. And with your profile, when you come in, each segment is broken down. Like, there are 7 things that you need to do to file your initial application, and while you're waiting right here. So if you just file and you don't do those 7, your case isn't going to stand out. And you're setting yourself up for possibly like a 3-year wait, or not getting your benefits at all. So here's the end of my long rant. is to do it right. You can do it right on your own. That's how we teach you. Or you can learn how to do it right and make sure whoever you hire does it right for you. Okay? All right. Oh, while I'm on it, for those of you that are on disability benefits, this information is going to be helpful for you as well. Last year, there's a 2.75 decrease in the terminations. They were down from 800,000 to 778,000. And that wasn't because, well, let me explain it this way. Commissioner O'Malley in the last part of last year, last 6 months, put a pause on the continuing disability reviews. And I know some of you still got one. But the reason why that was done is because there was such a gargantuan backlog for disability claims that he shifted the effort over to this section. As a result, in my opinion, there was a 12.16 increase in the approvals. So at any rate, the game is going to change here. It's not going to become easier, in my opinion, and that's where this hack comes in. All right, so back to AI. You know what? If you are out there in the audience and you're using artificial intelligence of any sort, and it could be like Gemini or ChatGPT or Google Bard, if you just drop us a note and say, yeah, I'm using it, and what you commonly use it for, that would be great. Maybe there's some application that I don't know about, right?
Yeah.
We do these events as an effort to help.
Still getting some feedback, Philip.
I got it.
All right. So let's talk about AI, like the simple definition of it, and how it's different than using like a Google search. A Google search is you put a query in, you ask it a question, and it will send you something back, right? And the difference when you use an AI is it actually thinks like a human. And perhaps you're using it now and you're not aware of it. So on if you're an Apple iPhone user and you use this beautiful thing called Siri, that is a form of AI. Or Alexa is another form of AI, which I don't have one. Either of you guys have Alexa? I think you do.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I haven't gone down that route yet, but
everything in my house is on Alexa.
really? And is it accurate?
Yep, it's pretty good.
Good. Good.
I'm at the point I don't know what I would do without her.
Right. Right.
That's probably not a good thing, but
well, okay, so that's technology, right? You're adapting to it. Whereas Nadine and I guess we're a little behind in that category. So
well, it helps me a lot with, of course, with my vision when I can just ask her something.
Right. Right. So relative to your disability benefits, and I'll go through some examples and show you here in a moment, is it can help you in smoothing out your communication. I've been doing this work for like almost 2 decades, and one of the common consistent problems is that people legitimately qualify for disability benefits. I mean, Philip, Nadine, you talk to people daily, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They qualify, and oftentimes they've come to us and they're like deep in the denial phase, and it's commonly a communication issue.
Yeah.
They have the medical, they just, took a wild ass guess when they started. They didn't communicate it properly, and that's usually what does it. So if you just get your head around the fact of doing it right, whether you want to do it on your own with our course, ideally, or if you want to use a representative and monitor them, then you're going to be ahead of a lot of those 1.9 million guessers that are out there. Okay. So that's where AI comes in, because you can ask it a question even verbally, which I'm going to test here today with you, or you can type it in and ask it to give you back a proper written statement in line with what the expectations are. So you'll learn more about that when I do it. So that's how it can help you. Where can you use this? Like when you go through the initial application process and you file your initial application, that's mostly the collection and submission of information to Social Security. But it can help you craft a statement why you qualify that can go in the remarks section.
Mhm.
Even before that, it can help you come up with a 2-sentence statement as to why you qualify. And everybody that is either an applicant or a recipient should have their statement down. Why? Because it's what you use when you go to the doctors. It's what you use if Social Security calls you while you're in the application process. It's what you use if you have a benefit review. You explain your 2-sentence statement. Most people are all over the map talking about their conditions, and 3 years ago they fell down the stairs and it would have been worse if their dog wasn't there, all that stuff. But it's not that involved. It's just a short, proper, concise statement. So
Yeah.
So these are some of the things. All right. I'm going to give this a whirl. I'm going to do this on the fly, like kind of like live TV, and see if I
Cool.
can get it. And hopefully it will work. And so what I'm going to do is, this is Chat GPT, and you can use other versions of it. And I'm not a super proficient typer, and like Philip can talk to Alexa, or you can talk to Siri, you can actually speak to Chat GPT now, or you can type out a statement. Now, in the description of this video, there is a very concise, formatted statement that you can type out. So actually, let me show you that now and find it. Yeah. So this is an example of a prompt that you would put in. So you would just fill in the blanks, and you could put this into Chat GPT, and you could say, write a short, concise statement. You know, for my doctor, write a 2-sentence or less statement that explains why I qualify. But this is your statement, ideally, that you would use in about this length to go in the remarks section of your disability application. So all you need to do is take out and replace the age and the conditions and your treatment and all that stuff. All right. So this little prompt right here gives me the activation for the voice, and I'm going to give it a whirl. I'm 58 years old. I've not been able to work since December 4th of 2023 due to degenerative disc disease, chronic pain, and arthritis in my right shoulder. I was working as a truck driver over the road for 15 years, and now I can't sit for more than 15 minutes. I can't stand for more than 20 minutes. And I'm also a diabetic, and my A1C is elevated in the 7% range, has caused me to lose my vision. Please prepare a concise statement for me to submit with my Social Security disability application, why I qualify for benefits.
Here's a concise statement you can submit. I'm a 58-year-old former over-the-road truck driver with 15 years of experience. Since December 4th, 2023, I have been unable to work due to degenerative disc disease, chronic pain, and arthritis in my right shoulder. I can no longer sit for more than 15 minutes or stand for more than 20 minutes. Additionally, I'm a diabetic with an elevated A1C of over 7%, which has resulted in vision loss. These conditions severely limit my ability to perform any work-related activities, qualifying me for Social Security disability benefits. Feel free to adjust or add details as needed.
All right, so when I click the X, here's my statement. That is all ready to go to copy and paste into your application. All right. That, my friends, is the power of AI. Now, I could further enhance this by saying, please create a list of my limitations for me to bring to my doctors and what limitations are caused by the related conditions that you're treating me for.
Here's a list of limitations and related conditions you can bring to your doctors. Limitations: cannot sit for more than 15 minutes, cannot stand for more than 20 minutes, chronic pain impacting daily activities, vision loss due to diabetes, difficulty lifting or using the right shoulder, degenerative disc disease, chronic pain in the right shoulder, diabetes with elevated A1C. These details will help your doctors provide thorough documentation for your disability application.
So if you've listened to some of the other work here, great. If you haven't, certainly encourage you to do so. Part of your disability approval success and keeping your benefits is proper doctoring, what to say and do when you go to the doctors, not just to go. And so going with a list of your limitations in each and every visit that's like this came out actually pretty good, and handing them to the doctor. And it does two things. It helps the doctor like understand where you're at. Maybe your sitting limitation changes from 15 minutes to 20, but you're still not able to work. So, and for the doctor, like when I go to the doctor, I go there to find out things. And perhaps you do the same, or if not, I encourage you to, so that they could treat you and help you like get better. Getting better doesn't mean that you can go back to work, but getting better could be that you have 10% less pain or 20% more energy, something like that. Okay. So those are some of the tips that I have for you for AI. And if you have questions regarding the AI, then you can add those in chat. I'm going to do more like deeper dives into this. And next week, I'll show you how you can write a more in-depth statement that could be used after your initial application is done, that would connect your medical records to your qualification. You can actually attach medical records into AI, and it will go through and scan all of your conditions, compile them, rank them in degrees of severity. It really can do a lot. And this is I'm showing you how to do it. So this is like, hopefully it's not that complicated. Then in addition to that, there's applications that you can use this for. Well, this would definitely apply for your continuing disability review, but if you are in other situations, like you want to looking for housing, you're looking for jobs, you want to contact Voc Rehab, benefit planner, things like that. So in the next few weeks, we do have some guest speakers scheduled, so they'll be sprinkled in between these. But I want to make sure that you have the tools as current as they are from my perspective, so that you can leverage those to get going. Okay. All right. Philip, anything to add on this? Anything you want to think I might have missed?
Well, I just wanted to say that they should definitely take advantage of using these AI tools, because based on experience, I've talked to a lot of members wherein, they know what their limitations are, but they don't know how to organize their thoughts and put them into words to make it convincing, right? So this definitely helps.
Yeah. This is another not so common situation, but I've actually spoke with people before that have interviewed for representation to try to get somebody to take their case, and their case wasn't taken. And I'm not saying I did anything, maybe, I guess I did do something different. But what the issue was is they were not communicating properly, and the individual that they spoke with at the other representation firm perhaps didn't know how to ask the right questions. So my point is this: if you go through this exercise and you are looking, another thing you can use it for is like for representation. If you clearly communicate why you qualify and you're looking for help, and
Mhm.
that's definitely going to help you be more attractive for somebody to work with. Okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, let's move on with some Q&A. I suggest we do this. Nadine, while you update everybody on how to submit their questions and put the link in the chat, we'll start with Philip.
Yeah.
Questions. So you just want to update the audience out there what you're going to do?
Yeah, so right now I am posting the link for you to join the Zoom meeting. And again, we would be more than happy to answer your questions, but we would appreciate if you would send in your questions first so that we can filter it and see if it's something that we can discuss live. So yeah, you can message us your question via Zoom, or you can comment it down below the video.
Or if you've got a success story,
Oh
come
yeah.
on down.
Yeah, we love to hear good
Love,
news. So
love to
you're
hear.
welcome to also join if you have some good news to share.
So before we get on to Philip's questions from his group, if you're new here, Philip's group just surpassed 10,000 members. Yeah,
Yay, congratulations, Philip.
rapidly growing. So
Yeah.
again, congratulations. And actually, we are getting close to 100,000 on our YouTube channel. And we're going to come up with some type of prize or something. We're going to do something.
Yeah.
All right, Philip. So here's the deal, everybody. Philip's collected questions from his Facebook group over the course of probably the last week or so. So we're going to take some time to address those for your group members. So let's get at it.
First one. How do I drop my attorney? My hearing is in April. She cursed at me. I felt very disrespected and hurt. Will she get paid some of my back pay? She's been working on my case for 3 to 4 years now. Still no approval.
That's not proper etiquette, I don't think, I swear.
No.
Oh, you know,
Probably not.
Nadine, I need to give you the powers here. So let's get into that one. One moment here, make co-host. So yes, you can release and rehire. However, your current swearing attorney has the right to file a fee petition. It's form SSA 1560, and collect or pursue getting a portion of the fee. So that puts you in an interesting situation. If the attorney can demonstrate that they did work on this, then they can likely get some or all of what they request. But let's say they're requesting 5,000 out of the 9,200. So they're requesting the 5,000. That means somebody else is going to be coming in and working on your case for $4,200, which maybe they will, but it makes it a lot less attractive. So you're in a tight spot. So I guess you've got to roll the dice on it. If you don't think this person can get you approved, that's one thing. If they can get you approved, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just trying to give you some ideas to consider. But if they're swearing and got attitude issues, but they're still effective, you've got to balance it out. It's a tough situation. Sorry you're in it.
All right, next one. I applied in Oregon, got denied. We went to court, still got denied. They said I could do something. So now, 10 years later, I moved to Arkansas and been diagnosed with lupus. Have a stent in and being seen by a cancer doctor because my white blood count is always high. I have 3 leaky valves, palpitations, and enlarged heart. Also a enlarged spine. No, spleen, sorry.
I was going to say, how do you get an enlarged spine?
Spleen.
That's
Sorry
a new
about that. They're looking into stuff. Do any of you think I might get approved? Any advice? Welcome. Would be welcome.
So let's unpack this one. The first thing that comes to mind is, do you still qualify for disability benefits based on your work history? Because all we heard about was the medical, which sounds severe. But if you haven't worked 50% or more of the last 10 years, then your work credits would have likely expired. So that means that you're in line for a big, fat, unfortunate goose egg. But let's say that you are. You have worked and you are still insured. You can find out your insured status by looking it up online or calling Social Security. I hate to recommend it because it's such a mess, but you can't go see them now without calling them. And then if you try to call them, you've got to wait forever. It's tough. So do it online if you can. So as far as the conditions are concerned, the diagnoses that you have, it's not a diagnosis that will get you approved. That's where there's a misunderstanding for people because, you know, 2 people could have an enlarged spine, for example, but the limitations could be different for individuals. So it's how that diagnosis prevents you or limits you. And that would be like a conversation that we need to have, or come join us in the group and we can further dig into that and I can give you an idea. But sounds like you've got a lot going on there for sure. And if you're not able to work and you're still insured, I'd definitely pursue it. The other option is if you haven't worked and you're below the poverty line, then social insurance, supplemental security income could be an option for you.
Yep. One other note on that is just because you have a condition that meets the Blue Book listing does not mean you'll get approved.
Good point. Good point.
All right, I have a couple more here. Next one, I have made it to the hearing stage, have a hearing scheduled for April 29th, 25. What happens next?
You want to start on this one, Philip?
What happens next is you'll get a letter, of course, saying when the hearing is and the date and how it's going to occur, either by a video conference or some places are still doing live hearings. It's very rare now, though. But anyway, that's what will happen next is you'll get the date and you'll have to make sure that you set your time aside for that. You want to prepare for that hearing. And in our courses, we do teach you how to prepare for those hearings. Get all your ducks in a row, so to speak.
Yep.
Then at the hearing, it will, like I said, either occur by video or a live hearing, and you'll have to answer questions from the ALJ. And again, hopefully you have your ducks in a row and you can you prepare and be ready for those questions. And if you have an attorney or a non-representative representing you, they'll prepare you before that hearing on how to answer some of the questions that may occur.
Yeah, good points. Good point. So what can perhaps take some of the sting out of it for people is in the disability approval course that we have, there's a wait for hearing section. And what we did to help is we listened to, I forget exactly how many, maybe 40 hearings, and we extracted the questions that judges ask. And so we compiled them all and we put them in a list. So when you come in and you're into the course, you're going to see the common questions. And judges are going to ask questions based on the original forms that you filled out when you applied. Your adult daily living, like questionnaire, like can you pay your bills? Do you do any house cleaning? Those same questions twisted in a different way. So you've been asked those questions. So the easy way to prepare is come into the course, get access to it, understand exactly what they are, look at your prior answers, make sure they're consistent, and if they're not, have an explanation for it. We cover everything in that question, Philip?
Believe so. Think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we
Go
have
ahead, Nadine.
Mike. We have Mike in the waiting room. I think he is the one who sent us a question earlier before the show started. He has a questions about applying as a Medicare advocate.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I'm
So
gonna let him in.
you
Should I?
Yeah, let him in. Philip,
Okay.
you can always, I'll see if I can have Mike hang for a minute while we finish your questions.
Okay.
Hey, Mike.
I'm
Yes, hi.
Hey, Mike, I'd like to have you just mute for a moment. We're going to finish up with Philip and then I'll get on to you, okay?
Okay.
You know how to do that, or would you like me to do it?
I'm on the Zoom meeting and I'm listening to your thing through YouTube. Should I turn the YouTube off?
Yeah, that would be good. And then just listen through the Zoom meeting.
Okay.
I'm gonna click mute on you, and then when I'm done with Philip, I'll unmute you, so you'll be able to
Okay.
hear. Okay. Okay, Philip. Away we go.
Last one. Just received my function report from SSA 3373 in the mail today. I have 8 days to fill it out. Anyone have any tips, advice for this form to help me on my approval?
Yep, sure do. So the function report is a critical piece. It's back to the proper communication that I explained in the beginning. Here at the Disability Digest, when you join us as a member and you get access to the disability approval course, the lesson in there, lesson number 2, no, actually it's 1C, is going to, it's an interview with attorney Carl Osterhow. And he breaks down like each question, like what the question is and how to answer it, and gives you specific answers. So you just, put your computer or your phone on, get the paperwork out, go through and answer the questions as they are appropriate for you. And you have that all taken care of. You should also have your work history along with the adult function there. So if Nadine hasn't already, she'll put a link in the show there, show notes to the Disability Digest, and that's the best way to help you. And those are the same. Actually, this ties into the hearing question. And Mike, I'm going to be right with you in a moment. Is what you're answering here, if you unfortunately have to go to a hearing, is the theme and the framework of the questions from the judge. All right, Mike, I'm going to unmute you here. Here we go. You are live.
Okay, so I applied for a job with Disability Digest for a Medicare advocate. They sent me emails with asking for my name and address several times in the while. I can't reply back to the emails. How should I contact you guys and what should I do and what's the next steps?
Yeah, I think let's just talk a little bit and see if that might be the right position for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay. do you have experience in insurance, Medicare insurance, helping people that, our audience is 48 to 62, disability recipients, income, conditions, all those variables. Do you have any experience with that?
I went to school for accounting and personal financial planning. Part of that included insurance, a lot of the definitions, how insurance works. I'm on Medicare myself. I'm familiar with a lot of insurance plans. I'm on Medicaid. I know the Medicaid rules very, very well. What are assets, what are income, age range, requirements to get on it, all that type of stuff. I can look those up. I know exactly where to go if someone's got a question for it. I have not sold insurance or worked for an insurance company yet, but I'm very knowledgeable in terms of what you need. I know about prescription assistance programs, patient assistance programs, hospital assistance programs. I know how they all work because I've been on them before. So I felt that would be helpful to your members.
Jeez, I think you could have my job. So what about the disability approval side? Like you're on benefits, like, do you have the same level of knowledge on that side?
Well, I've been listening to, as you say, to a lot of the attorneys that have been posting YouTube videos, Jonathan Ginsburg, Anthony Reeves back in the day, Walter Knott. I've been listening to those extensively. I
Yep.
did the initial application for it and my first continuing disability review without a lawyer. Um, so
Mhm.
I have successfully that. I probably would ask for an hour consultation with a lawyer come up for the next time because I did the first two by myself. I want to obviously get the best that I can. I know it's about having all your stuff ready, medical documentation and all. So I mean, I have high functioning autism, so I'm very intellectually smart, intelligent, but I lack the nonverbal cues in terms of communication. But if it's remote like this, you may not even see the person. Those might not even come into account because you're talking through the phone. You're focusing more on tone of voice and words than what someone's face looks like.
Yeah, right, right. So you've been reviewed twice already, Mike?
I've been reviewed once. I got my initial application, so that's two decisions. My next review is coming up, scheduled for January 2027.
Okay,
So I got two. I'm on a 7-year review cycle.
okay.
I got a 3-year initially, passed my review, then I got a 7-year. I'm in the medical improvement not expected. I think it's possible, don't know probability that I might get the short form. Don't know that simply because mine's not going to expect it to improve.
Okay, all right. Have you done any work like since you've been on benefits?
Yes, I have. I've pushed carts for a local supermarket. I've done tried attempted hotel house cleaning stuff. Didn't do that very well with that. I did a short one hanging clothes for a department store, I believe TJ Maxx.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I've done a delivery driver for a restaurant. I find that once the employer sees my lack of nonverbal communication skills. Usually the jobs don't last long, but with a job like this that you are doing things remote, those may
Yeah,
not even come into play. And so my biggest weakness might be eliminated because they can't see me anyway, and I
yeah,
can't see them.
yeah, good thinking.
And our sarcasm the same way. Sarcasm's usually figured out by facial expressions and nonverbals. But if there are no nonverbals, and then it makes that risk or go down greatly because you can't see them, visually,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
else simply through a video like this. It's not like being with the same level as being with a person, someone else, live.
Yeah, yeah. No, well said. You express yourself nicely. Um,
Very well.
yep, for
Yeah.
sure. And like this really doesn't have much to do with it. I'm just curious. Where are you located?
Ishpeming, Michigan.
Michigan. All right.
So I was told this is a remote job, so you don't have to necessarily be in one particular city. As you can see, I've got a home computer, I've got internet, I get it through my phone, but nonetheless, I have it. I can
Yep.
live stream. I don't see any reason why I could not do it. Now, obviously, the biggest with keeping a job is the person I work for. Do they understand autism or not? If they don't, then it makes it much difficult for that job to last as long, simply because after a period, if you can't understand your supervisor, you can't do any job. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's their experience with autism greatly affects whether the job is going to be successful,
Okay.
their lack of.
Hmm. Well, I can speak to it this way. I'll just say we have no experience, but that doesn't mean it's a showstopper. You
No,
know,
it doesn't mean that you can't necessarily go on and watch a 15 or a 30-minute video on it, on what is high functioning autism. And that would give you a long way ahead of most employers, because most employers will not take that time and
right.
struggle with me.
Yeah. I mean, the key thing that we look for here at the Disability Digest is we look for people that get what we're doing, have a high degree of empathy, because our job is, as I say at the top of every program in the close, we help people get their benefits, keep them, and maximize them. So, and you've got to listen and follow through. I mean, it might sound I'm super simplifying it, but that's the work that we do.
Yeah,
So,
well, and I've helped a lot of people on disability. I've explained to them a lot of the work requirements. What is the trial work? What is the extended period of eligibility? What can you do when you're on it? What can't you do?
mhm,
Documentation. If you volunteer, you have to document it, because they equivalent volunteer time to work and its
yep,
value. And so you got all these record keeping things. You got to keep track of when you worked, how much you worked, what month did you earn the income in, all that. I've been through some of the work things with Social Security. I've gone through an appeal with one thing. I ultimately won it, because it was not a
mhm,
very common thing for that field office. So I got through all that. So if I don't know the answer to something, more likely than not, I'd probably if it's in the law or if it's in a policies, rules, and regulations, I could find it. I have my ability to go through the POMs, search through that, look through Social Security's manual and how to research things in there. So I got a lot that I can use to help you, even if it's something more than just research. Say, hey, can you research this rule for me? Sure, I
mhm,
go through it, I find it, I cite you the quotation, the section, rule number, etc. And that may be able to help who's ever helping them, saying, hey, here's the answer for you. It's found
mhm.
in such and such, if they want to know the rules. Because sometimes you got to recite to these agencies their policies, because they don't know the policy themselves. So,
Amen. All right.
so
So,
my
so
ability to do that.
here's what I'd like. Thank you for sharing that. Here's what I'd like to do. If you could, uh, there's a chat feature in this Zoom room. If you could share your email address
How do
with,
I get to the chat? I don't know how to get to the chat section. I'm sorry. I know it in the YouTube, but I don't know in the Zoom. Where is it found?
it's on the, are you on your phone?
No, I'm on the computer, a desktop computer.
Okay, so if you look at, there's a console with all the buttons and it's gonna say like, recipients, microphone.
Participants?
Yeah, there's a chat feature there.
Okay. You want my email?
Yeah, I want you to put that, we're gonna look at your application. I think there's a position that you are more qualified for.
All
Uh,
right.
but I'll look up what you've done and what you have put in. Um,
Okay. So I'm just putting my email in there. Can you give me your email that I can actually respond to if I have questions?
Yep, it's support at thedisabilitydigest.com.
Hey,
You're welcome to follow up there and you can address it
support at
thedisabilitydigest.com.
at the
Yeah.
Disability Digest or Disability Digest? Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
yep, I type it in the chat box.
Okay.
I respond. Yeah.
And I can actually respond to that email?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we're open for business.
Okay. Well, I just thought I had a lot to offer you guys, both from the front of the house, talking to the customers, and the research side, the back end, I did do public accounting, so I understand accounting and all finance and all that type of stuff, type of thing.
Yep.
If you have questions in there, I know that Social Security is very picky on when you worked, how much you worked, and keeping that records, I realize is very, very vital. A lot of people will not do it. A lot of people try to work under the table, which I don't recommend, but some of them do it anyway. And there's just so much to this, as you know, that people can get hung up on because they may not be able to do all the administrative side with working with Social Security and all themselves, and they mess up. So, I mean, I feel I don't necessarily have experience working as a Medicare agent, but I got a lot of things that I thought would be helpful for the company or for you.
Yep. We will train. Listen, we're going to take some more questions, but I want to thank you in closing for joining, for being a member, for taking the time to help us understand your interest in coming here to help out our other members.
And
All
can
right?
you explain that second section? There's something about it was an acronym and I didn't know what it was that you said if you didn't have, you'd help us be able to figure out what it is and how to get it in step 2 of the application process. There's an acronym in there.
Oh, you mean the benefit planner?
Yeah, what is that?
All right, so I can resend you the benefit planner video, but here I'm going to go through this because this is key for everybody. So part of the application process for positions is you apply, step 1, you submit the application. Step 2 is you go to vocational rehabilitation and you contact and meet with a benefit planner. They will provide an assessment for you based on their opinion of what your work capability is. In addition to doing that, they will ideally provide you with resources. For example, if you work here, you're likely going to need high-speed internet. Maybe you can afford it, maybe you can't. Perhaps they will pitch in until you get ramped up on your income. Just
Well,
one.
I went through vocational rehab 2 or 3 times already, and not once did they do offer anything of what you said. In fact, they just said there's nothing we can offer you.
Well, perhaps you didn't ask the right way, because I mean, this is part of the recruiting process, not just for me, but for other companies, Mike.
Okay.
And we actually get plans back that we review as part of the application process. So,
I know it's at least 9 months to get into vocational rehab.
possibly.
Oh yeah, I know. I've been in it at least twice, if not 3 times. And so I've been through it and they really don't do necessarily what jobs are you good at because since mine is communication, there's not really a job that I'm limited physically.
Mhm.
Because I'm physically capable, I'm just not, my communication skills is my shortcoming, and that affects all jobs. So there's not really a job that I can't do necessarily, or, so there's not really a say that you'd be better at this job over another job, because every job has got it.
Yeah. So, Mike, I'm going to wrap up with you at this time. In respect of time for others, we want to get some questions answered before we close out.
Okay.
But I have your contact information. I pulled up your membership. I'm
Okay.
going to resend you step 2 to listen to, and I will look at the information that you've already submitted. So once again, I thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you so much, Mike. So we do have a couple of questions here.
Yep.
To those who would want to join us live, please feel free. The link is in the chat box. But while we wait for them, let me read to you, Brian, some of the questions.
Sure.
So we have a question here from Johnston. He said, I was told by my lawyer that I was verbally approved January 16, 2025 for SSDI, but on my social security page, it still shows that I'm on stage 4.
Yeah.
You want? Mhm.
Always good to get something in writing. I don't know where the information came from that you're approved, but you got to get it in writing. Maybe you went to a hearing and the judge gave you an on the bench verbal decision. I mean, that's pretty powerful because those hearings are recorded. If that's the case, that's like as good as money in the bank. But if it's something other, I'm not sure what it is or what it could be.
Mm. Okay. We have another question here. What happens if I apply? I think she's referring to SSDI and have to move to a different state.
Just change your address with Social Security. It's, moving on Social Security is actually, I don't want to say, maybe it's more common than you think, because there's some areas where you may have been working and the cost of living is high and you move to another area. So you can live anywhere in the Social Security footprint, like even Puerto Rico.
Hmm. Oh, okay.
Guam, you live in Guam. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I have one question here that I've been meaning to ask. This is from one of the members that I spoke 2 days ago. Um, he said from 1996 to 2006, I worked 10 years paying taxes into Social Security. Thereafter, I worked as a correctional officer from 2006 to 2022 and was only paying for CalPERS. Will I still qualify for SSDI?
I missed the numbers. What was the work history over the last 10 years?
Yeah, so 1996 to 2006, he worked 10 years and was paying taxes
Yep.
to Social Security. And then after that, uh, 2006 up until 2022, he worked as a correctional officer and he was only paying for CalPERS.
Yeah, so I don't know if this new Biden Act that was signed is going to help you out, but you might be one of the people that will get your credits restored, because based on what I'm hearing, there is no documented work history where you paid into Social Security during that
Yeah.
time. So um, I would definitely watch, because if that is the case, they're going to allocate the monies back in, which should show that your work was relevant for Social Security and you'd qualify for benefits. That could be a huge move for you. If that is the case, I'd love to hear back from you, because we had somebody here a couple weeks ago, Nadine, that you were working with, that
Arrow?
also, yeah,
Yeah.
had that happen. Similar thing, was a teacher.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay. So we still have more questions here. From Diana. I got my questionnaire on how I'm doing update. I'm not sure whether I was approved for my depression or my chronic back pain. How do I find out? It should be on their letter, right?
Well, if they were approved at the initial application stage or the reconsideration appeal, Social Security doesn't communicate their findings. It's just they show like you've been approved in the financial piece. If you're approved at a hearing, the judge will write in the decision letter what his findings are. And you could get an indication from that. However, oftentimes it's not definitive. It could say you have a collection of conditions and we found that you can't work.
I see. All right. We have another question here. I'm so confused. Can you please expand on your comment? Just because you meet a listing doesn't mean that you will be approved.
Yeah. Actually, in a few weeks, I'm trying to think when it is, industry expert attorney James Mitchell Brown is going to be back here talking about the listing for heart conditions.
Mhm.
But I'll explain it this way. If you have a heart condition, for example, and you look at the listing, you're like, oh, I have a heart condition. It's a listing. I qualify. Well, maybe, but there's degrees of severity that need to be met. And also, it needs to be clear in your medical records and oftentimes clearly communicated to Social Security. So It could be that you have the listing and it's not severe enough and you wouldn't qualify. It could be that you actually do have the condition that is listing quality, but it's not communicated. Hopefully that's it. And we have covered several listings. If you search the YouTube channel, you'll find it. But when you come in as a member here at the Disability Digest, and you speak with one of our advocates, which could even be Nadine or Philip, they'll talk about your conditions, and we have supporting condition related information that will go with the disability approval course. So there are some nuances for certain conditions like diabetes, heart condition, brain health conditions like depression, that we have a good information to support your approval process.
All right. So I guess what we're trying to also communicate here is that again, it's not about the diagnoses, but it's about the limitations that prevents you from doing any work
That's correct.
and how you would communicate that. All right. So one last question here from Robert. Will my SSDI increase because I was a state employee? So I'm not sure how to answer that.
Well, I don't know. It's based on the Fairness Act. It's possible, but there's so many moving parts on that. I just don't know your situation. That's a tough one. I just don't have enough information to answer that, and I wouldn't have access to it. I didn't need to see like, even if I knew how to do it, I would need to see like your earnings record and all of that, and where you're at now. So, the advice that we have received is hang out and wait. It's going to sort itself out. You've been advised that there really isn't anything you can do right now, but just wait. Maybe do some praying. That's all I got for you. Yeah, yeah. That'd be awesome. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all the questions that I have here right now.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so in closing, what I want to just recap is what we covered today about how to use the AI tools to help you really up your game and apply like a pro. And so at the Disability Digest, one of the things that I showed you is these are the main reasons why courses that we have that people come here for. We have the disability approval course. And then once individuals are approved for their disability benefits as a member, you have the ability to have your benefits reviewed. It's no charge. It's part of your membership. And the reason, the value of doing this is we can look and see if there's things that you're paying for that you shouldn't be paying for. Here's one recent, really, really, really good example. Social Security changed the Extra Help program. And Extra Help pays for your Medicare Part B premiums, which are currently $185 a month, and also your medications. So the value of it's $6,200 a year. So they're not going to knock on your door or call you and say, hey, we changed these and we've expanded it. You should check it out. But if you have a benefit review and we have the information we need, we can give you a good idea if that's something you could pursue. And there's other things that we do, but that's just relevant and really, really like recent for a benefit review. There's a lot of people that are approved, as you mentioned in the conversation today, that are concerned about their continuing disability review. Members that are approved get access to a How to Survive Your Continuing Disability Review. And this is put together with industry expert attorney James Mitchell Brown. It's got 10 segments. So when you get your review, it'll help you understand what to do to prepare it, what to do when you get it, whether it's a short form, long form, what you need to do with your medical records, what happens if something goes wrong or you get denied, or if you need some legal guidance. on that. Last thing I want to cover with you is Disability Digest members have access to a benefit protection program. If you're a disability recipient and you are working with us as a insurance client, we're managing your Medicare, like we review it annually, make sure you're on the right plan, checking out all your other benefits. There's no cost for this because insurance companies pay us anyway. But as a benefit protection client, when and if you get your review, you get access to us. We'll review your paperwork, make sure you fill it out properly. If you happen to get denied and you have to go back to court, you have access to our legal team, and we pay like the first $500 of legal fees for your case to go to court, which for these types of cases usually is enough to get rid of it. So it just gives you an extra layer of support. So there's no charge for your membership. Nadine will put a link around in the show notes or in the chat.
Yeah.
So you can come on over and check it out and take advantage of some or all of these resources. So in closing today, I want to thank you, Philip. Thank you, Nadine, for your contribution to our AI-driven event. So come back next week. We're going to take it up another notch with AI and show you what you can do next. One thing I don't remember if I mentioned or not is this. When you have an AI conversation started with your AI chatbot, like the information that I put in, if you just leave it there, it'll stay in your history, and then you can come back and ask more relevant questions. You don't need to go through the whole process. So it's kind of like you have built in an assistant to work with. Now, if you delete that particular prompt, then you've got to start all over again. So that's another tip for you. All right. Listen, everybody, I hope you have found value in this show. It's our objective to be a trusted source of information for you. Would appreciate it if you join us in the comments. If you like the work we do, give us a share. Come back next week. Make it a great day, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.